I'm Bill Moore, and I cannot even begin to express how much fun I'm having ever since OpenAI dropped the Chat GPT model on the world. It's like we're on another planet, and anybody with a creative bent and or a technical bent, it's a wonderful time to be around, right? We're just having too much fun. I happen to also be an entrepreneur, however. So today we're going to talk about something that's important for anybody in business, and that is to create leads, right? Everybody's got to sell something. So I don't care if you're an agency or if you're a manufacturer or or a service company of some kind, right? You need a way to find your clients, find people to talk to. So we're going to talk about lead generation using the OpenAI tools, right? Chat GPT and some embedding tools. And we are then going to talk about something that I think is equally cool, and that is the implementation of it as a low-code model. So very, very easy to build and put one of these things into production. Okay. So let me tell you who this is for. It's if you are a technical guy, looking for programming for this is not your talk for you. I'm going to make some references to the code. I'm going to make some references to how we built this, but because that's who I am and I can't help but talk about that. But we're not going to be showing code today. This is going to be for business guys, right? This is for anybody interested in lead generation. We're going to be talking about the latest and greatest techniques for doing that, right? So let's jump into it. We're going to break it into three sections. The first section is going to be talking about what we call domain-specific models. Anybody who's used ChatGPT knows that you can go out and ask all kinds of interesting questions, and it comes back with fun and very conversational kind of answers. But you're not going to get anything back about your business, about your manufacturing, about your agency. You have to put that in. You have to provide that information, or else you're just not going to get it back. I would even be reluctant, even in a field like, say, insurance, I would be reluctant to just ask general questions because it's trained on things that are older, and those rules and regulations are changing constantly. So domain-specific models are the solution to that, okay? So let's jump first over to ChatGPT itself, because, of course, it is a wonderful assistant. Let's take a look there. So I had already put in, tell me in a few sentences about domain-specific models. I notice I'm being very specific here. If I just said, tell me about domain-specific models, we would get paragraphs and paragraphs of stuff. But I don't want to take that much time here. So it's going to say that domain-specific models are machine learning models that perform well in specific tasks or domains, optimize with specific types of data, often trained on large amount of data within that domain, resulting in high accuracy and performance. Right? Domain-specific models are used in various industries such as finance, healthcare, manufacturing, any kind of agency work, even what I've been working on, and I've been working on a course for beginning traders, right? So it helps solve these specific problems efficiently. Now we're going to put in one more prompt here. We're going to say, tell me in a few sentences about using embeddings for this purpose. Let's see what it has to say. So embeddings are a type of representation learning technique used to transform raw data into a meaningful and numerical format. By the way, embeddings turn things into vectors, right? And that is actually at the heart and soul of all these large language models. It's just that they've turned millions and millions and trillions, in fact, of conversations into embeddings that they search on. We don't need to do nearly so many, right, when we're talking about a domain-specific model. So embeddings are commonly used in domain-specific models to capture the semantic relationships between words, concepts, or entities within that domain. By using embeddings, domain-specific models can learn to extract features that are highly relevant to the specific domain and perform better at tasks such as classification, recommendation, clustering. Okay, so let me just show you. First of all, I am building a course for beginning traders. I decided when I saw the Chat GPT things, I decided, hey, I'm going to use that thing to answer questions. I'm going to build a Q&A bot for my course. So when my students have questions, instead of asking me, they can ask the bot. So let's go take a look first at what that would look like before I do the embeddings. So I took everything that I was building in the course, and I took all the videos, extracted words. I even have some guest speakers in my course. I took their words, and I just put all of that into a huge text file. Then I have a tool that I wrote in Python that takes that text file, and the technical word is actually chunking it up. It chunks it up into pieces that are then going to be turned into vectors, right, into that whole embeddings concept. So it took just a huge, big old piece and turned it into a CSV file, and you can see, the things that it did here, and there are lots and lots and lots and lots of them. Okay, So then the second piece of that, which we're not going to show because it doesn't have any meaning to the human eye, is it takes this, runs it through another piece of Python code to create those embeddings, right? It creates a vector database. In this case, I'm not actually storing it on a database. I would love to have a problem large enough to require something to use, say, Pinecone or something. That sounds very exciting to me. But in this case, I didn't even need that. It's just another CSV file. So when that happened, let's go take a look at the model now, just for a moment. Okay, so here I had already put in one question here. This is the trade to win Q&A bot, right? And I just want to demonstrate how the concept works here before we move on to step 2. So we put all that information, we made the embeddings, and now when it asks a question, it looks first to those embeddings. Now, I have told it specifically if it can't find the answer in the things I've provided, to not give an answer, to say I don't know. In other words, I don't want it to go out and pull out some generic answer from the space that GPT has done. So all I did was say, tell me about Trade to Win, and it says it's a game-based trading course for beginners. It uses an accelerated learning game called Fast Trading for deep practice. Of course, it was developed by Bill Moore. And let's go in and say, okay, tell me more about Bill Moore. Hopefully my students won't have to be asking that question, but let's just see what it comes up with. Bill Moore has more than 20 years of experience building trading applications in the financial sector, accepted the challenge of creating a course to teach individuals to trade, developed a powerful learning approach, tested dozens of technical indicators and trading strategies. So this is actually taking a little bit out of context because I studied those technical indicators, threw most of them away. This is kind of implying that those are used here. So let's ask one more thing here, because minor point here, but when we create the prompt that goes in, you're seeing I'm writing one prompt, but the other part of the prompt is it takes the previous answer and the previous question and includes it with this as the prompt for the next question. So it appears to have a little bit of memory. Large language models have no memory, okay, but it gives the appearance of it because we're including some of the past things into the current questions. So did he really start programming with punch cards? And doesn't that mean he's old? Let's do a test of that. Yes. Oh, wait. Yes, Bill Moore did start programming with punch cards. However, this does not necessarily mean he is old. Well, I'm telling you, sorry, again, you got that a little bit wrong. It does necessarily mean that he is old. Okay, so I guess let's ask a couple questions that a student might ask. What cognitive errors cause the most problems for traders? I misspelled problems. Let's see how it handles that. The cognitive errors that cause most problems for traders are confirmation bias, anchoring bias, and the sunk cost fallacy. Okay, which of those is the most common? I misspelled another word because I can't type, so let's see if it handles this one. The most common cognitive error for traders is confirmation bias. I'm just going to say, tell me more about this one. Notice I don't have to say confirmation bias in here because that answer is being included with the prompt. If I was not including that answer with the prompt, I would have to give more specificity here. But let's say, tell me more. Oh, I left out the word about. So again, we're really giving it a test because I can't type. Confirmation bias can lead to overconfidence in traders as they're more likely to focus on information that confirms their existing beliefs, ignore opposing views. So it gives a pretty good, strong answer here, you see. So I just wanted you to see that this is a very domain-specific set of information that it's getting, and it's getting very conversational kinds of answers. So it sounds like Chat GPT, but it's Chat GPT that is talking about my domain. We could even go in here and ask about pricing and how to contact Bill Moore and all that stuff, which we're not going to do right now. But it has all that information as part of the domain-specific stuff here. I hope that's a clear enough understanding of the Q&A bot stuff. Now, I put that first because a lot of people are already talking about Q&A. You can go find code about that and see how to build this kind of bot yourself. That's certainly out there already. But let's move on to step 2. Step 2 here is going to be talking about what I call flow. Okay, so after you have a domain-specific model, which does take some work, by the way, it's not. It doesn't take a lot of coding, and the way I'm going to show you in a minute, we won't use any coding, but it does take some work to gather all that data and make this. The nice part about it for an agency is that you probably only have to do it once for your company, and all your agents can use that same domain-specific information. So in my case, I'm a small business guy, and I am building a course myself. I have to do one for everything, but I think there is certainly some benefits of scale if you're a larger entity. Okay, so moving on to the next step, right? The next step is going to be talking about flow. Now, one of the weaknesses there's a number of weaknesses that people talk about with the models, right? The GPT models, the large language models. One is that they hallucinate and make stuff up. Well, we've reduced that problem greatly by providing the information that we're going to talk about, right? The domain-specific information greatly increases the chances that we're going to give accurate information back from a question and an answer. But the next part that people don't really talk about that much yet, it's interesting because if we're trying to achieve something, in this case, lead generation, we need to take somebody and step them along a path. I call it a flow in this case, right? So we're going to get them here by a landing page or some other advertising or something. But that when they get to that landing page and they start engaging with the bot, we need to move them along from getting their name, finding out if they're interested in this, making sure they're qualified, whatever the information is. In the example that I'm going to give right now for my course, I use a company called ConvertKit for the email funnel, and in the bot, at the end of it, it actually signs the person up, uses the ConvertKit API, and it enlists them into the mailing list for the information about the course. This is a pre-release mailing list because the course is not released yet. But the point of the flow is it takes a person, asks them enough questions to get their name, find out if they're interested, find out if they're qualified. Then we do a brief presentation. And then after all that, we ask, does that all sound good? And if it does, we ask for their email. If they give us their email, then we actually go ahead and enlist them with ConvertKit right there. So that whole process, I'm going to show that to you next. Okay. We are going to start this over. Okay, so here, if you just came into the bot, right? If somebody answered an ad or saw something that you were doing on social media and clicked that link, they come to your landing page. Now, I have the whole page here as an HTML. This could be embedded in your landing page or done as a pop-up in a lot of different ways. But here's the first row. Hi, I'm the Alpha Bot. People call me Bill. Who am I speaking with? Now, somebody can answer that question a lot of different ways, right? But in the bot here, I am going to show you just a couple of things. If somebody wants to start off by being cantankerous, they can say not saying, whatever, something of that nature. And then it comes back with, I understand the predicament. We're like two fish swimming in separate tanks. So we break the glass and do a proper acquaintance. Hi, I'm Bill. And you? Now, this was generated by Chat GPT, okay? We gave it kind of a theme, and we said, look, I want you to reword this, make it be fun and energetic, but I still want the guy's name, okay? So Chat GPT created this. Every time somebody, puts up a little fight for giving us their name, it's going to come up with something different. It's not going to be the same ever. Two things aren't. This is not a script. In other words, this is being generated by the conversational strength of Chat GPT. Okay. So the other thing that my model does, though, right? Because if you're in sales, you know that if somebody doesn't get past step 1, they're probably not a prospect, right? They're probably not somebody to get to step two. If somebody doesn't want to cooperate with me, I end the bot. This bot will shut them down. Okay. Now I give them, it's like strike three, you're out. I give them 3 strikes. This is strike one. The guy did not answer my question. I'm trying again. If they don't answer it again, it's strike two, and then our bot will just say, doesn't look like you're a prospect. So see you later. Have a good day. And then it won't answer anything else. So here, what we're going to do though is answer a question. So I'm going to say that I am William. Or how about this? Watch this. This is another strength of the GPT models. You can say, people call me William. Because I know that for you people who've been doing lead generation out there before, if people do stuff like this, it becomes problematic. But for a model like Chat GPT, it instantly goes in, extracts the name, and does this. Now, in this case, we're actually already saving the name. This name has already been saved in a what I call a session variable here. So we have at least the first name here. Are you interested in learning to trade? Once again, they can be cantankerous, and if they are, we only have strike one against us. So we'll do one. We'll say not sure. And so it comes back again with some other types of question, but it's going to say, look, do you want to learn something about it? Ready to level up your trading game? Let me be your guide to deciphering the nuances of the trade to win course. Are you game? If they, how do you say, they've already got 2 strikes against them. If they don't answer this question, the model shuts them down. We don't want to do that. So we're just going to say yes. And I have these 2 buttons here to make it easy. They can just click the button for the thumbs up. So next thing is they said they're interested. We want to say, okay, great. I want to be sure we're a good match. This is typical sales, right? Trade to Win is a game-based trading course for beginners. We adhere to a few concepts. Anyone can learn to trade, eat practice. Since practice is essential, we make practice fun. That's why we use games. Does this sound like a fit for you? Again, we're not going to do it does the same thing. If you don't answer the question, it's going to come back and try to prompt you to answer the question. But I'm not going to do that because I want to continue. We can say yes, or we can say indeed it does. You can do different things. You don't just have to say yes to these things. Now here comes the presentation part. I'm gonna forward through the presentation. I've got the volume turned off here, but this is actually a little short 3-minute presentation about the course, right? So again, typical sales. We've found a prospect. We have them engaged. They're actually giving us names. We've asked, are they interested? We qualified them based on the previous question. Now we're giving a presentation about the course. I'm just going to fast forward through that because that's not the purpose of our talk today. And at the end of this, it asks the question, was all of that clear? Once again, okay, this time I'll just hit the thumbs up arrow again. And when it does that, it says, great, all I need is your email address to get you signed up, and we'll circle back for questions. So I'll just put in the old email address. And that was a good email address. That was just done. The bot took it, put it into an API from ConvertKit, sent it to them, and it says, awesome, you'll get a confirmation email in your inbox shortly. Now, if you have any questions about the course at the moment, just ask away. Now, in the case, the way I did it here, not only do they get signed up for the email, right, the email funnel at ConvertKit, but now they can start asking more questions if they want to. And again, all of these things can be done independently. So I wanted you to see a couple of things here. This is a flow model. This is not, Chat GPT doesn't naturally do step by step like that. Okay, we've created a flow, and I'm going to show you in a second how we did that. But that concept of having a flow, of having some type of state, right, is done using a set of vectors about the user. Okay, their Chat GPT uses vectors about all the words and all the stuff. We've created a vector that we're filling in as we go along about the user, and at some point that vector says, "Oh, this is the prospect," right? And at some point it does enough to sign them up. In this case, that person is fully into this. Okay, at this point, this is as far as this particular bot goes. But we can do any type of flow in there. But this actually steps people along. Okay, So you've just seen how we've created a domain-specific model that we can ask and answer all kinds of questions about us, about our business, about our tools, about our products. And then we've just seen how we can step these people along the flow, like names, confirm with them that they are a prospect, or they feel like they are. Eventually, at some point, we give them a presentation about what it is we're doing, and then if all of that looks good, then hopefully they are a prospect, and then we go ahead and ask for the order. In this case, asking for the order was simply to get their email so that we could sign them up for a newsletter talking about this course. Okay, step 3. Step 3 is the flow itself, and I'm going to go to here. Okay, so we have jumped over to the production model. Now, when I say production, this is live. We have a URL. We can send it out to everybody right now. But even though I'm calling it's in the production environment, but we are still, I say, testing everything in the production environment. So we've done the development on the model and the code. Now we're testing the ability to do things in the production world. So I guess we could call this a beta, but I'm not handing out the URL just yet. That's going to come very shortly. Then we're going to do a live demo with that. But in any case, the thing I want to show you is, okay, we're back at the start of that flow, right? The flow that we discussed a moment ago. Hi, I'm the AlphaBot. People call me Bill. Who am I speaking with? But now let's go take a look at this. This is a Google Sheet, and you see here, hi, I'm the AlphaBot. People call me Bill. Who am I speaking with? This Google Sheet is like a form, right? And over here, what I'm calling details are the numbers, part of that vector thing I made a reference to a while ago. The objective, you're going to create steps. You're going to create steps for your flow, for what it is, your objectives, what you're trying to achieve as far as your lead generation. And you're going to say, okay, I wanted to get the name, I wanted to confirm the purpose, confirm the course. Then I do the presentation. Then I want to sign them up, right? I want to ask for the order, basically. Here's the words. Now, there's a thing called generative versus extractive. Generative is what Chat GPT does, right? And we've seen it a whole bunch already, right? Even in the Q&A stuff, Chat GPT is creating the answers. Now it's creating the answers based on data that we put, but it goes and searches that data, looks at the question we asked, and then creates an answer. We saw it even in the flow where somebody, say, didn't give us their name. It went and used a suggested model and then reworded that and asked and basically was insisting on getting their name. And that is going to be different every time somebody asks it, because Chat GPT is rewriting it, rewording it, right? So those are generative. Extractive is when we use exactly the words, right, that are there. So the way that I've created the model so far, and it doesn't have to be this way, but this is how I did it, is each time we change topics, right? Each time, like the first step here is getting the name, I put these exact words, right? Once we have the name, I put these exact words. Now, all of these things over here are the suggestions that Chat GPT uses to rewrite from. But I am using what's called an extractive model as we change from one place to the next, okay? As we change from here to here. I don't want Chat GPT making up something really clever and making it very confusing. I want the initial step of each one of these objectives to be very clear, right? So this says, hi, I'm the AlphaBot. People call me Bill. Who am I speaking with? Let's go back and just to confirm this is in production and this is what you see. But now let's go back and make a change here. Hi, I am the no-call broker bot. People call me Mike. Okay. All we did was make this change on a spreadsheet. This is going to feel like sleight of hand, but it's not. This is real. This is live. This is a production model. All I'm going to do is refresh this page as if somebody just landed in here for just now. And it's, hi, I'm the no-call broker bot. People call me Mike. Who am I speaking with? We could go back and change every one of the items in here, and everything, the entire model is going to change. And it's live and it's in production. No code required, just the ability to think through your business problem and fill out a form. That is all that's required here. So I hope that's as exciting to you guys as it is to me. I find this stuff completely fascinating. There's going to be some links below. And please, by the way, please like and subscribe if you think the stuff is interesting. Please, it's going to get more people to take a look at this. And I'll put a link down below to how to contact me if you're interested in putting something like this in place. This is obviously in beta. It's not released yet, but it will be released. I'm saying within the next couple of weeks. And if you have any input or questions, or would like to get on an early list of somebody that would like to use something like this, let me know. Exciting stuff. Thanks for watching.